Hello friends, welcome. Friend, yesterday the Department of Telecommunications came out with the numbers for the cumulative 5G BTS number for by the end of January 2025. So if you click here, if I click here, you will be able to see that 31st January 2025 on a service area or a state basis, this number have been listed out, and DOT has been doing an excellent job in capturing these numbers. So the numbers are all out, and in the same dashboard, if you go here, you will be able to get the cumulative towers and cumulative BTS's number. So how do you do that? If you go here, let me just show you where is the tower and the BTS's data. So where is it? Let me just zoom out a bit, and you will be able to see the telecom towers here. So if you click here more here, you will see that the telecom tower installed, and the latest number is 8.19 lakhs, right? And then we have got the telecom BTS installed, which is 29.71 lakhs. And you have a tabular number here where the daily numbers are reported. So this data is coming from DOT's website, and I consider this data as authentic. Okay. So friends, we are going to use this data to come out with some inferences as to how the telecom operators are going about deploying base station, and with a special focus on BSNL, because that is the point of interest. Everybody is interested in knowing the structure of BSNL network. Friends, I have already done an article on this earlier, but I am revisiting this topic is because this topic is of utmost interest. Everybody, including the government, wants the BSNL to revive, and the country's population is wanting BSNL. Their aspiration is that BSNL will be able to meet their communication requirement in an affordable and optimal way. That's why the BSNL needs to have a ubiquitous coverage, and that's why I'm very much interested in BSNL. So friends, what I have done is I have captured this data, which is available in DOT's website, in a dashboard like this. So I'm going to zoom out a bit so that you can get an overview of this dashboard, how this dashboard looks. So let me just go on. So you'll see that this dashboard looks something like this. And if you have an access to my website, you can play with this data yourself. This is titled Tracking India's BTS and Tower Deployment Trends, right? So that's all that you can very easily do. Now, if I zoom in a bit, you will find that this dashboard has got two different sections. One is top, another is below. The top one is cumulative numbers, and the below is incremental numbers. And I have chosen a time scale starting from October 2023 till January 2025. Now friends, why October 2023? Why this date? This date is because if you see that minister, in response, our telecom minister, honorable telecom minister, in response to a parliamentary question, indicated that the supply of 4G equipment to BSNL began in September 2023. So I'm going with the horse's mouth, minister. So that becomes the reference point for BSNL's 4G deployment, which most likely have started in the month of October. And that is the reason why I have chosen this reference date as October 2023. Understood? So it makes sense. Now let's look at this particular block of the table. As you know, it starts from October 2023 and January 2025. Now what this data tells us? This data tells us that there is a there is an incremental growth each year of a particular type, right, till January 2023, which all adds up to, for 5G BTSs, 1.36 lakhs. As regarding total BTS, you can see that again the same thing, and it all adds up to 1.95 lakhs. Now, if we know the total BTSs, which I told you that it comes from this dashboard, the total BTS number here, 29.71. And if you go to the top part of my chart, you will see 29.71, right? So it is nothing but this subtract by this one, we are just subtracting and going on subtracting, and I am getting this incremental number. So if you add all these incremental numbers, it comes out to be 1.95 lakhs. Now, if you subtract 1.95 lakhs with 1.36 lakhs, you get this number of around 59k. Correct? You're with me? Then comes the tower numbers. The tower numbers are also similarly, placed here by calculating the incremental number. And if you add all these together, it comes out to be around 48k, right? 48.6k. Now, here is an assumption which I am making. I am making an assumption that since BSNL started its 4G deployment since October 2023, I am presuming they are focused on their existing 70k towers. They are not expanding. They are not initially have expanded their 70k towers. This is a very important and fundamental assumption, and the viewers have to tell me whether I am correct or wrong. Because it's very highly unlikely that BSNL will focus on expanding tower before converting their existing 3G or 2G or whatever base station, or putting an extra base station in the same tower location where they already have. You can't expect them to first start expanding the tower without converting their existing towers to 4G, right? Or deploying a base station in their existing tower. So which basically tells me that these towers which have been deployed on ground are by private mobile operators, not by BSNL. And this is 48k, 40 or 49k. Now these towers largely will be 4G towers because 5G BTS's numbers are fraction of the total BTS number. We know that 4 point something. If you go here, 4.68, right? And if you divide this is a fraction. So very highly unlikely that any mobile operator will start deploying new towers and populate them with 5G. So it has to be 4G. It can't be 2G. It can't be 3G. It has to be 4G. Now it could be possible that they have multiple base stations installed in these 49k towers. Correct? Because there are multiple 4G frequency bands. So there could be multiple, and then these towers could be shared by multiple operators. So maybe there are Reliance Jio, Vodafone and Bharti all sharing some of these towers. But let's make an assumption here. Again, worst case, there is only one BTS per tower of 4G. If that is the case, then what does it mean? So there are 48.6k. Worst case, by the way, worst case, this will definitely not be for 49k BTS alone because there could be multiple BTSs per tower. But let me assume that one BTS per tower from the point of view of simplification. So this is 49k or 48.6k, and this is 58k, which is rest of the BTSs which have been aggregated and grown in the country, right? Which is nothing but subtraction of this minus this. So this minus this, right? This is 5G and this is total, so you get this. And when you subtract 58 from 58.8, 48.6, you get roughly around 10k. Now, if 10k is the number of BTSs which the mobile operators have deployed on top of other than the new towers, this is most likely have been deployed by BSNL. So BSNL from October 2023 till January 2025, are we saying that they have only deployed 10k BTSs of 4G? It's very, very unlikely because the minister claims and other people claim that they have deployed more than 70k BTSs, right? So which means what? Which basically means that they have dismantled their 3G BTSs. BSNL has 3G BTSs in all the locations throughout the country on the 70k towers. So if there are 70k towers BSNL has, so 70k 3G BTSs, right? So 70k 3G BTSs, if all of them have been dismantled by BSNL, and assume that other operators have not dismantled anything, which is also very simplistic assumption to make, but largely it will be true because this portion of the time scale, everything has stabilized. Nobody is dismantling anything, everybody is adding. Most likely, not 100%, maybe 90% or 85% true. So, to make it simple, I am making an assumption that this 10k BTSs, which has been on top of the tower BTSs, which has been deployed, has been done largely by BSNL, And BSNL has dismantled their existing BTSs. That's why this count is coming out to be 10K only after subtracting it from the new towers. Correct? So which means what? 70K 3G BTSs have been dismantled completely. Right? So if you take that number, 70K has been dismantled completely. Then 70K 4G BTSs have been deployed. And then we have got 10K additional BTSs, which is on top of it, because 70 plus 70 minus 70 becomes 0. So this 10K. So there are 80K BTSs which probably will get deployed by BSNL, right? But BSNL numbers is not 80K. It is somehow between 75 or maybe 70K, not even 70K, it is actually less than that. Which means that BSNL, if either they have dismantled all their 3G network, which is highly unlikely, they might not have done that, right? They might have a large portion of their 3G network still alive. So what does it mean? It means either of the two things. If you go to the BSNL's spectrum, of the 2100 megahertz band, because this is the 3G band, and where the main focus, say there are two bands where the main focus is. Rest of the bands are, there could be focus, but not from a 4G point of view. This is 2100 megahertz band, and if I filter BSNL here and MTNL here, you will see that largely in every location, BSNL and MTNL together has got 10 megahertz of spectrum. Now, if you assume that 5 megahertz of 2100 megahertz band has been populated by 3G, then only 5 megahertz is left out, right, for 4G. So BSNL had the opportunity to deploy only 5 megahertz of 4G in all the 2100 megahertz location, which means that 2100 megahertz towers with 3G BTSs will not be dismantled, right? That is the case, because then there is a space of 5 megahertz here where already, if it is empty, they are not using the full 10 megahertz for 3G. Then what happens is that 5 megahertz is lying there. They can deploy their 4G network there. So which means that what? This 5 is already existing. 70K tower locations with 5G BTSs, with 3G BTSs already existing. On top of it, they have deployed another 70K, which means that this chart we are looking at, this number is not adding up. Right? So I don't know how to tell this story. 70K BTSs. Assume that BSNL has 70K 4G BTSs. How do you account for that? To get this number at 10K from October 2023 to 25, you tell me. I am asking you this question. How do I account for that when we know that the total towers which have been deployed by private sector operators largely have been done by them, not by BSNL, and these are populated by at least one BTS of 4G, and therefore the rest of the BTSs, which currently is the subtraction of the total BTSs and the 5G BTSs, must be netted out with this tower, assuming that one BTS per tower, which is also unlikely. So this number is 10K. So if this number is 10K, and if BSNL has kept its 5G network alive, 3G network alive, how this is getting accounted for? You answer this question. I don't know. Assuming that what minister is saying in the parliament, that they started their deployment in September, 4G equipment, then how this gets added up? I am not able to understand this. Either I am making some fundamental wrong assumptions, which you have to guide me to correct it. But I can't see this. If you assume that this information which DOT is posting in their website is correct, either this is totally incorrect, this dashboard is totally incorrect, both 5G as well as the total dashboard which they are aggregating on a daily basis, right? See, or there is something which I am not able to understand. You tell me how this number has to be added up. Let me repeat again. This is 10K after netting out this number, which are for new towers, which is again one BTS per tower, which is very conservative. So 10K here. 10K means that the total BTS which BSNL has of 4G 70K somehow has to get accounted for. Means this has to be 70K. This should have been 70K, not 10K. But this is 10K, which means that their 3G network, because there are two BTSs per tower location, 700 and 2100. So ideally, if you deploy in all the 70K tower locations 4G BTS, then it becomes 140K. So how this can be 70K? 10K. When there is a 140K BTS, BSNL should have deployed if they have a full 70K tower populated with 4G. Because one 700 megahertz tower and one 2100 megahertz tower. And even if you assume that they have dismantled all their 3G base station, right? This number should have been 70K, right? Because 70K towers, each tower with 2 BTSs, which means how much? Which means 140K, 70K 3G BTSs dismantled. So this number has to be how much? How much it has to be? Tell me 70K. Why it is 10K? I'm asking you. You answer this question. So if you have an answer, let me know what assumptions that I have made wrong here. Have BSNL expanded their towers from 70K to 100K or where? I don't know that. I think they haven't. It will be highly unlikely, right? And these are all towers which have been deployed by the existing private mobile operators. So why this equation is not matching? That is the question I'm asking you. Please answer this question. I will be very happy and I will get enlightened by those learned viewers who are watching this video. I'll definitely be grateful to you to tell me where I am going wrong. Okay. So friends, thank you very much for your time. I hope that you have liked this video. I will come back with a new video next time. Thank you very much.